the author, who was a 12-year-old son, a German woman who was a mother of four, American soldier, Jim, who was a dark hair, Rorbee, who was a tall and slender, Harry, who was a wounded German soldier, the German corporal, who was 23 at the time, Hans, who was 16 years old, Willie, who was 16 years old. The story takes place in a small cottage in Virgin Forest, near the German-Belgian border on Christmas Eve in 1944, that during the war between Germans and the Americans.
The mother and the son are considered as a round character because they were in between the Germans and American soldiers. Both of them are German and they can reject to help the Americans because helping the enemy is illegal, but they decide to help them.
There was no antagonist in the story because they were struggling to survive and none of them were fighting in the cottage. The moral of the story is war is bad. No one really wants a war and are very kind and helpful to each other no matter they are enemies or friends. We all should be kind like the mother.
Hermann was the promised rooster, named after portly Hermann Göring, Hitler's number 2 man, for whom mothers had little affection. That we had been fattening for weeks in the hope that father would be home for Christmas, but some hour before, when it was obvious that father would not make it, mother had decided that Germany should leave a few more days in case father could get home for New Year. Now she had changed her mind again. Hermann would serve an immediate pressing purpose. This is an example of third-person point of view.
The conflict is man vs man because the heart of this story involves two opposite soldiers stop fighting on Christmas Eve.
It was Christmas Eve, and the last desperate German offensive of World War II raged around our tiny cabin. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. When we heard the knock on our door that Christmas Eve in 1944, neither mother nor I had the slightest inkling of the quiet miracle that lay in store for us. I was 12 then, and we were living in a small cottage in the Virgin Forest near the German-Belgian border. When that first knock came, mother quickly blew out the candle. She stepped ahead of the son and pushed open the door outside. One of them spoke to mother in a language they did not understand, pointing to a man lying in the snow. She realized that these were American soldiers. They were armed and could have forced their entrance, yet they stood there and asked with their eyes, and the wounded man seemed more dead than alive. Mother said, "Come in." The soldiers carried their comrade inside and stretched him on my bed. The son was setting the table when once again there came a knock at the door. He opened the door. There stood 4 soldiers wearing uniforms quite familiar. They were Germans. He knew the harsh law sheltering enemy soldiers constitutes high treason. They could all be shot. She turned to the corporal and raised her voice a little. This Christmas night, let us forget about killing. The corporal stared at her. There were 2 or 3 endless seconds of silence. Then Mother put an end to indecision. Enough talking, she ordered, and clapped her hand sharply. Please put your weapons here on the wood pile, and hurry up before the others eat the dinner. The son looked around the table. He saw tears, too, in the eyes of the battle-weary soldiers. Boys again, some from America, some from Germany, all far from home. Next morning, Harry woke up in the early hours. They made stretcher for Harry by 2 poles and Mother's bed tablecloth. The German corporal then advised the Americans how to find their way back to their lives. Looking over Jim's map, the corporal pointed out a stream. Continue along this creek, he said, and you will find the First Army rebuilding its forces on its upper course. The medical student relayed the information in English. Be careful, boy, the mother said. I want you to get home someday where you belong. God bless you all. The German and American soldiers shook hands, and we watched them disappear in opposite directions.
This story is considered immense in the whole plot. It can be seen that the American soldiers were in a sticky situation because they were meant to be hiding from the German soldiers.
Hermann the Promoter Institution, named after Polly Hermann Göring, Hitler's number 2 man, for whom Matroh had little affection. Is representative of affection to the mother because she liked Hermann Göring, and it also represented the love from the mother that gave to the boys by inviting them to have dinner with them.